We're back for another week of Polk Nation. Heath Schwer, Jim Gazzolo. Wild, weird basketball game last night.
Yeah,
against Houston Christian. Coach was not happy.
I saw him after the game for about 5 seconds, and I said, I get it. We just didn't play very well, and watching the game, you always felt you were going to win, but we just, 4 times in the second half, we get a turnover and turn it back over, and we just didn't play well. But at the end of the day, it's a lot better to not play well and win than to play well and lose.
Well, there are some nights that are just weird nights because Stephen F. Austin won by 4 points at home against East Texas.
Right.
So some nights, for whatever reason, these things happen.
That's right.
But I thought the biggest issue was, and the biggest positive was, Javon Garcia looked like he got his legs back.
Yes, that's a huge deal.
That is a huge deal.
He's the reigning player of the year, and coming down a stretch, he's been there before. He's made big shots and big moments before, and to have him hopefully start to get his legs back under him, and he's dealt with so many nagging injuries this year.
He doesn't talk about
for sure, but hopefully he's healthy, and if he can catch stride.
He makes the big plays.
It really puts us in a good position.
But one thing about this is you still have a lot of things, and everybody's saying, well, the league and that. The 2 seed, although there's a little bit of a difference, basically it's the same spot.
Yeah, it's like
couple
2 to 3 hour difference in rest.
Yeah.
That's really about it. Mm-hmm.
But the other thing was, it looked like they kind of did a little showboating last night. And that's what Coach was saying, is that we got a little too cute.
I could see that. Yeah, I could see him saying that. Yeah, for sure. And, but again, I will tell you this too, is that the one thing about where we are as a program now is everyone, when they come in here, they play well because to them,
play well.
It's a great crowd. It's the best venue.
It's the most eyes are going to be on you tonight.
Absolutely,
so you
100%.
have to play well, and you can make a name for yourself.
That's right.
The one thing about Garcia, though, is, and you won't say this, but I will, I've never seen a reigning player in a conference get less calls than that guy. It seems like every call goes against him. He's always on the floor. Am I wrong?
Yeah, I'm not touching that one.
I can say that, though.
Yeah, if that wants to be a statement, I understand.
That is a statement. That was not a question. How's that?
Great.
Does that make you feel better?
Yes.
Okay. But your women's team also, they've won 13 in a row, school record. You have a men's team that set a record last night by the 20th win for the 3 straight years, first time in history. You have a women's team that's set numerous records this year. Is McNeese a basketball school?
I think so. Look, at the end of the day, you have to run, when Dr. Roos was here, we talked at length about we have to run athletics like a business.
Yeah.
And there is no greater ROI at the FCS level as men's basketball.
Yeah.
The numbers are the numbers. And really, women's basketball, now that when you go to the NCAA tournament, you get a unit.
Yeah. That's
so
big.
there is now a return on that investment. So to be good in men's and women's basketball here is really, really important, not only because we have the tournament and the facilities, but it's a business, and it's the greatest return on your investment.
And we just named McNeese was just named the best job for
I saw that.
College basketball coach in the conference by the coaches themselves and administrators. Probably would be the same thing for women.
I think so too, for sure. Yeah, Jeff Goodman, I think it is that went around in all the leagues.
68.
And it was pretty neat. I saw that today, and how far we've come. 5-6 years ago when I took over as the athletic director, it was probably,
the worst job.
The worst.
There's no facilities.
There's no facilities. It was the worst job.
You were practicing at Ward 3.
Barb High School.
Barb High School,
yeah.
Ward 3 had 7 practice sites.
Absolutely.
This is an amazing turnaround. I want to catch you on the flip side on the other thing. FCS football. Mm-hmm. North Dakota State's leaving. Mm-hmm. The Montana coach quit because of NIL, and he says you can't compete on this level, and basically all sorts of financial reasons why. This is a tough sell now because there's so much money to one side that people just assume that much money is here, but there's two different worlds.
It's two different worlds, and FCS football today is completely different than what it was even 4 or 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago. It's really changed, and we have to adapt to it. I think we've done that. I think Coach V's done a good job of adapting to that, but I think that as a fan base, we have to adapt as well. And we have to understand that, there's going to be, the quote unquote old way of doing things is not going to work. It just,
it's not going to look the same.
It's not going to look the same.
And that's tough for fans to understand. But it's not a tradition thing in that. It's that the kids are now programmed because of the money that they are businesses. Mm-hmm. And they're going to play the business, the loyalty thing in that. The loyalty goes to the paychecks a lot of times.
Sure.
It's like everything else. So
let me. Think about it this way: if there was a mechanic or a nurse, okay, let's just take a nurse, and another hospital an hour away offered you double or triple the money, you're probably going to take that job.
Yeah,
it's no different. And until the NCAA and or the Congress, I think collective bargaining is probably the only way it gets worked out. Until there's something that
some formula.
Then it's no different than anyone else out there.
And it's free agency every year.
That's right.
And we've seen that even when they sign contracts, they're just going right through the contracts. Anyway.
It's hard.
It's a completely different time, and it'll take some time for the lower levels. And I think mid-majors, too, to catch up. The big ones are going to be okay because they got the money, but everybody else is going to be searching.
When you think about, FCS football and then 75% of the group of 5 football is probably really it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. Exactly
it's not that far away.
No.
So I think that, but it is different, and it's going to look different. And just like you said, North Dakota is saying, hey, we've won this many championships. It doesn't matter. I got to get to the Mountain West. And Bobby Houck, who was at. I love Bobby. Him saying, hey, this is.
He did Nick Saban.
That's exactly right. This is Montana football, and I'm leaving.
When we come back, we're going to talk baseball, which opens up Friday night against Sam Houston State. We're going to talk to Justin Hill and Larry Edwards Jr. after this.
What makes having a local lawyer important is it's all about relationships. When judges know the lawyer and the lawyer has established credibility over time with the court, they know enough to trust what you're telling them. Lake Charles must be a wonderful place because now lawyers all over the state claim that Lake Charles is their hometown. I thought you could only have one hometown, and I know this is ours.
Well, it's game day at the Legacy Center, and the McNeese Cowboys are warmed up and ready to play. Cowboys have a new player this year, number 22, Katie Ferdinand. This girl loves basketball and McNeese so much she can't wait to get out on the floor. And we're off. Shoemate tips the brewer, and there goes Katie.
Ferdinand Financial Group supports the McNeese Cowboys. The Cowboys are going to do some really big things. Really big.
McNeese athletes bring big energy, big plays, and big spirit to every game. That's why Lakeside is proud to be such a huge fan. We're a hometown team too, in the business of backing big dreams across our community every day. And we always bank on big wins with McNeese Sports. Go big with Lakeside and McNeese.
Join Don's Wash Club and score big on clean rides all season. Unlock discounts on washes, interior cleanings, oil changes, and more. Whether you're tailgating or heading home after the game, keep your ride looking like a pro. Not ready to commit? No worries. Scan the QR code on screen to see what we're all about. Enjoy your ride with Don's on McNeese, Ryan, and Nelson.
Welcome back to Pope Nation. Coach Hill, welcome back, my man.
Good to be here. It's baseball season now, so.
I know.
Yeah,
that's
rain's
right. It clicks over.
expected on the weekend.
Once February clicks, it's baseball.
That's right. Here we go.
Okay, well, it's opening weekend.
Yeah.
So tell us about, obviously the fall, the prep, and where you think you guys are at, and how excited are you to kicked off here.
Yeah, we had a good time during the fall, just getting to know each other, and getting to know each other, getting to know the program. A lot of install, a lot of evaluating and things that goes on. The best thing was the guys came back in really good shape. We've had a great team camp, and it's just that time where it's time to stop looking at each other a little bit, and so we're ready to go play somebody else. We're ready to turn the scoreboard on. It's an exciting time. There's nothing quite like opening day.
And as a coach, former coach, you get to a point, I don't care what sport you're in, where you're just tired of playing against each other.
Yeah.
Right. So talk a little bit about that, and obviously you mentioned off the air we know each other really well. Talk a little bit about that, and then how exciting is it to just get started with somebody else?
Yeah, the process of it is when you first get on campus is everybody's ready to show what they're about and why you're there, and then you get some familiarity. You want to see some guys make adjustments. Then all of a sudden you're so familiar with each other, and then the good thing is that fall ends at the same time. Whether they're just as excited when we come back in January, but that process speeds up. We know that February 13th open. It's time to go.
Yep.
35 of your 41 players in their first or second year.
Yeah.
That's just the new college baseball, college sports in general, but it's new college baseball, isn't it?
It is, but as much as we miss I miss the longevity of the length and depth of relationships. Just spending the time with those guys, being appreciative for what you have. That's the new thing, and so every day becomes even more valuable now.
So you have 4 mainstays from your batting order.
Okay.
One of them is going to be with us, Larry Edwards Jr. That's kind of going to be, at least the start of the year, is the middle of guys you're counting on, especially to get you off to a good start. How important is it to have that core of your lineup?
Well, whether it be guys who pitch, whether it be defensive, offense, whatever, we've been in battles and fights, when the pressure's on. When you know what you've seen from certain guys, that's a big deal. We like the talent level of the new guys that we got coming in, but it's a little bit different, when you're on the road in conference play or, just the challenging midweeks that we have. We've been in those battles before, and so guys that you can count on, again, whether the production, whatever it is, but there's a sense of comfort that you have in a very uncomfortable game.
So you got a lot of new players, but there's a lot of them that are coming in have experience. And the key now kind of recruiting is to get guys that have at-bats at some college level and innings. Is that it?
That's so valuable. There's no substitute for experience and opportunities and things. So we have 3 players we only have 3 players that have never played a college game in some way, shape, or form. And 2 of those guys are on the mound, 1 guy's a catcher. So you're staying right in the middle of the field. And we think all 3 of those guys are still going to contribute in some way. So you're talking about everybody else has had, they've been in the fight in some way, shape, or form. And so, again, it's going to be a little bit different, different roles for different guys. And so we got a really short preseason, 8 games before we start conference play. So we're going to learn a lot about ourselves in a hurry.
What do you think, Coach? Obviously you haven't played a game yet, but what do you think is the strength of this team?
Well, I do think we have a chance to have some depth, and depth could be, depth can be, hey, you have a lot of guys that are the same, but the problem is you have a lot of guys that are the same. Is that good or bad?
For sure.
And so then it becomes, really about matchup. So the part that's probably not necessarily an on the field thing, they really enjoy coming to the yard. They really enjoy working. They really enjoy being around each other. You see a lot of that, and those type of qualities, characteristics can really help get a team through a long season, which is what we'll have.
And the reason I ask, and I mean this sincerely, is I think you do a masterful job of figuring out, okay, this is the strength of my team, and I'm going to play to the strengths. Because whether it's how you rotate your pitchers or whatever, year to year, you've always figured out how to play to your strengths, right? How much of that does your staff help you with?
Everything. I may make the final decision, but I have a lot of input. I've got a really strong staff.
I think they're great. Yep.
And it all goes back to what's the focus. The focus is trying to win. It's if you remain in what you're trying to do, and you're trying to win on the field, you're trying to develop young men, and you're trying to create a great team. That's really the focus. Our goals are extremely, extremely simple in what we're trying to do. But yeah, we need everybody because hey, I've got some blind spots. There's no doubt. Like you get in a relationship with a player and you know how well you really root for that guy. But sometimes I can't manage with my heart, and so I've got some guys that can kind of help me with those things. But I also have the ability to do that with other players too. So I promise you, when it's bad, it's my fault. When it's good, man, it's good on the team. So.
For sure.
But pitching wise, Cooper Golden is the only real arm that was here last year that had extended innings, especially as a starter.
Yeah.
But how much is it kind of because you're able to piecemeal together guys on a Friday night, come back maybe close on the Friday night, and pitch on Sunday? How do you kind of manage that? How do you decide who's starting based on weekends?
Well, some of it is part of it. I know Cooper Golden gets the highlight, but you've got guys like Parker Morgan, Jake Blackwell, Brady Corcoran, Eric Knoxheim, guys that through those unseen innings a little bit, the guys that don't get a lot of credit for things, and we try to celebrate those things that don't necessarily show up in the box score, and those guys have been extremely valuable. They've had a good camp. And our guys have really latched onto that a little bit. And Cooper, man, he's one of the guys. He's one of the guys as well. And just figuring out how we start, how we see, and what's the game going to, because we have a game, we're going to have a plan, but it never goes to plan. Mm-hmm. But you have to have something to kind of work off of.
And I guess the big thing is, are you going to have a dog days this year?
You know what? It all comes down. I've heard. I think it's on the schedule. So I'm curious. I mean, I'm just as excited to see how that works as anybody else right now. So,
baseball kicks off Friday night, 6 p.m. against Sam Houston State. Then they play on Valentine's Day, weather permitting, and then Sunday. So a 3-game series with Sam Houston State. When we come back, Larry Edwards Jr. will be our guest after this on Polk Nation.
What makes having a local lawyer important is it's all about relationships. When judges know the lawyer and the lawyer has established credibility over time with the court, they know enough to trust what you're telling them. Lake Charles must be a wonderful place because now lawyers all over the state claim that Lake Charles is their hometown. I thought you could only have one hometown, and I know this is ours.
Well, it's game day at the Legacy Center, and the McNeese Cowboys are warmed up and ready to play. Cowboys have a new player this year, number 22, Katie Ferdinandson. This girl loves basketball and McNeese so much she can't wait to get out on the floor. And we're off. Shoemate tips the brewer, and there goes Katie.
Ferdinandson Financial Group supports the McNeese Cowboys. The Cowboys are going to do some really big things. Really big.
McNeese athletes bring big energy, big plays, and big spirit to every game. That's why Lakeside is proud to be such a huge fan. We're a hometown team too, in the business of backing big dreams across our community every day. And we always bank on big wins with McNeese Sports. Go big with Lakeside and McNeese.
Join Don's Wash Club and score big on clean rides all season. Unlock discounts on washes, interior cleanings, oil changes, and more. Whether you're tailgating or heading home after the game, keep your ride looking like a pro. Not ready to commit? No worries. Scan the QR code on screen to see what we're all about. Enjoy your ride with Don's on McNeese, Ryan, and Nelson.
We're back talking baseball this time with Larry Edwards Jr., outfielder from McNeese. You came from, where did you come from?
Northern Oklahoma, Tonkawa.
There you go. Yeah. So you're one of those.
It's a long one, isn't it?
I knew it was in Oklahoma.
You stumped him. I'm so glad, Larry, you stumped him.
He wasn't
I love it.
expecting that.
I love it.
I knew it was Northern Oklahoma. I didn't know the whole name of it. So you're one of those guys that used the junior college to get the at-bats and kind of prove yourself. What was the step up last year going from that level to this level?
I mean, JUCO is really competitive. There's, tons of guys in there that, prepare and, build up a life moment to be able to to get to not even only Division I baseball. So, the competition's there, and it was a great opportunity.
Your first year here, you hit .316, 47 runs scored, 18 doubles. You kind of, for a while there in the middle of the year, I remember you kind of took over the knocking in all the big runs. How important was that run for you guys, and what did you learn from last year?
Hitting wise, Coach Durham really preaches, doing what you can do and not trying to, be anybody else. So, that really kind of stood out for me. And last year's team, was a really good team. And, from a physicality standpoint, we have different guys. So, we might have to, do things different. But from a mental standpoint, win forever, that's our motto. And, we have to do that.
So, Larry, let me ask you this. So, this is your second year.
Yeah.
How has Lake Charles treated you, and how has McNeese treated you?
Oh, it's great. I love McNeese. I love Lake Charles. Just from the, not only my teammates, but the community. I love it here.
So, let me ask you this, too, now. So, when you come in from JUCO, and what a lot of people don't know now, many moons ago, I actually played a year of junior college basketball. And it really does prepare you.
They had basketball back?
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
Beach
Nate Smith and everything. But the thing I've always said is when you play JUCO, you have to love it.
Yeah.
Right. There's a grind to it that that most people don't understand. Right. And so, where did that start at? And I'm asking, like, what sports did you play as a kid, and how? And talk a little bit about your path.
Well, I played every sport you can imagine growing up: baseball, basketball, soccer. I even swam. But football, even. And what stood out to me about baseball is it's just different. And to me, it's the best sport in the world because. You fail 90% of the time, and you have to. The beauty of it, you have to win with the small wins, and to be able to do that.
That's interesting. Yeah.
To be able to do that, it's special. And then the JUCO route, I believe it's not for everybody. You struggle. You go through a lot, and I think it's really important for you to have a why when you're playing.
Okay, so you're in JUCO and you're in the van, right? And you're where did you guys stop all the time, to eat and come there or home? What was the go-to?
Gas stations. Sometimes you gotta figure it out.
100%.
A lot of Slim Jims.
100%. 100%. I love it.
Especially in the dorm.
That's right. I love it.
A lot of Slim Jims. Junior college baseball, though, is not like it's really good. You can get some really good guys that come back from injuries and things like that make it really interesting. One thing about playing at McNeese, and you probably learned this last year, is you have to be two different types of hitters. There's the winds blowing in hitter, where it's cold, and the next thing you know, you can't hit the ball out of the ballpark. And the next night you come back, it's 25, 30 degrees warmer, and the ball's flying out of the ballpark. How do you adjust to that?
There's one thing about Oklahoma, the wind's always blowing out, so you don't have to really worry about that. But, as far as our field, you have to be able to adapt. I think that's what we really preach on, Coach on the staff is not to be perfect, but learn how to, perfect adaptation. And, that's huge.
So what do you want to do when you're done here? Obviously you're going to continue to try to play, but when when it's over, right? When baseball's over, what do you see yourself doing?
That's a really good question. I've worked my whole life to, be able to play this game that I love. God's truly blessed me to be able to keep doing what I love. And, to be honest, that's a really good question. I'm really not too focused on that. I'm focused, in the present.
I love it. Yep.
Yeah.
The thing about baseball is there's so many different avenues to play now. There's independence ball, there's getting drafted, there's becoming free agents and that. You can play for 4 or 5 years and get paid. And you're not in the normal minor league system. There's other systems out there that make it really interesting and options to do. Junior college, I'd imagine you didn't have a lot of people come to your games.
No, but
you play here, they come to McNeese, you go to RGV, they're nuts down there for baseball. What was that adjustment?
It's really just a mindset. We prep for it in practice, and we have a set goal, we have an end goal. So the noise, plays a factor, but it doesn't play a factor at the same time.
And this year, what do you want to see out of this year's team? Because all these teams are new.
Yeah.
And the Southland is a really good conference. Some people are talking about 2 bids. Some people are talking about Lamar possibly being a College World Series dark horse. This is a good league. What do you think will come out of this league? How will you guys compete?
We have a really special team. Like Coach Hill said, we're really deep. And, I think one of our biggest strengths as a team is we became close very fast.
That's great.
In the fall. And I think that's going to be our biggest strength, coming to this spring. And, we're really close, and I think that's really important.
Larry Edwards Jr. has been our guest here on Polk Nation. When we come back, we have Coach's final thoughts. First game, Friday night against Sam Houston State.
What makes having a local lawyer important is it's all about relationships. When judges know the lawyer and the lawyer has established credibility over time with the court, they know enough to trust what you're telling them. Lake Charles must be a wonderful place because now lawyers all over the state claim that Lake Charles is their hometown. I thought you could only have one hometown, and I know this is ours.
So baseball season starts.
Crazy, right?
Softball season started last week. McNeese went 4-1, had a really good weekend, only lost the number 1 team in the country.
Yep.
That's not a bad weekend. Southeastern beat the number 5 team in the country.
I know. So
So those 2 teams are already, talking about, I saw their numbers. McNeese is a little bit ahead of Southeastern in the numbers. So that's going to be a showdown to watch all year long. The softball team plays at home this weekend after playing Ole Miss Thursday in Lafayette. Then they come home to play their own tournament, another tournament. They play a lot of tournaments.
Yeah.
Baseball on Friday. You can throw out 2. Can you throw out 2 pitches at one time?
my arm's still good enough to do that. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, for sure.
Don't bounce. If you bounce something, I don't want to. I don't even. You got Mardi Gras going on.
Yeah, it's a busy time.
This is a wild week.
It's a wild week, and it's the overlaps put a lot of stress on our staff, and people have no idea. You go to the ticket office on a softball game on a Friday night, and the ticket staff is there, and then they come back here on a Saturday, and then they go to baseball. Like, it's a lot, and people have no idea. I wish they did, but I have an unbelievable staff, and we'll get it done.
I want to ask you this really quick because we only got a minute and a half left here, or a minute. So, Stephen Smith is here. This week, talking about gambling and his problems when he was at Arizona State and that kind of enlightening your athletes. What made you want to do that?
The NCAA, put it out there, and I just thought it was really good. I always want to be proactive, and those, especially in that space. I think just from an education standpoint, all of our student athletes get exposed to it. Our coaches, our administrators, and it's an opportunity that. I think that is going to be really, really beneficial in our state, in our league. There are issues.
It hit right home this year.
100%.
Three teams.
And I thought for us to be proactive in this space, to say, hey, listen, let's really educate our student athletes. And unfortunately, there's bad people in the world. And but we have to do what.
You're talking about taking advantage of 20-year-old kids.
Correct. But we can control from an athletic director and from an administration, we can control how proactive we want to be, and I want to be extremely proactive.
So what's your go-to Mardi Gras outfit?
A tux.
Oh, come on. Do you have to wear a little mask of yours or?
A mask?
No,
I don't do all that. No.
You don't dress up like Bad Bunny and go out there?
No. How about you? What do you do in Mardi Gras?
I sit at home and watch sports.
Okay, I love that. I'm not surprised.
I used to be in a crew. Yeah. I used to go to them. I'm from Chicago.
Yeah, I get it. The first time I ever went, I'm like, what in the world? This is like 8 years ago.
It was
like,
wild.
What?
I never got the umbrellas inside the dancing. When we come back next week where the women are, they'll be a lot closer to a conference championship. Yeah. We'll see you next week on Polk Nation.